We're at 58 right now, so it's not so bad.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
they said we should be down to about 39 tonight. So
Ooh,
yeah.
hi.
Wow. Oh my goodness, 38.
We're at 58.
Wow.
It seems like your winters are longer than your summers down in Canada.
Sometimes it definitely feels like that. And I'm in southern Ontario. So imagine way further north, they've already had snow, but it won't last as long, like it won't stick for very long. But yeah, they had snow last couple days. They can have it. I don't want it yet.
I've been to Ontario. My grandmother did private duty nursing, and she worked for um the husband was from the US, but the wife was Canadian. Her husband was a judge in Ontario, and so we would go down there for the summers.
Mm-hmm. What part of Ontario?
I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I get it.
We were by the water.
Okay, yeah. So Niagara, somewhere,
No, it wasn't Niagara.
Port Dover, Turkey
No.
Point,
I
Windsor.
remember going under the water a long, long way underneath the water. I think we crossed over in Detroit.
I was going to say then that must be Detroit. Yeah.
Mhm.
So probably somewhere Chatham, Kent area.
Okay. We didn't have to have passports back then, but
No.
anyway, we're gonna do the blue sky, and I'm gonna draw my line. And now my line is not gonna be straight across, guys. It's gonna be a bit of diagonal. So it looks like I'm gonna start at halfway on my canvas. Okay, I'm sorry, I just jumped right in. I see a few that I don't recognize the names. Welcome, I'm Ronita. I am a Purposeful Point, and I teach painting. And so you feel free, you can mute if you know that you have a lot of background, but if you have something to say, feel free to unmute. That's what we talked about, the fun banter, if that's what your choice is. I am starting out, this is 11 by 14. I'm using a canvas board, but you can use whichever, like my example is on paper. If you want to use paper, if you want to use canvas, is your choice. I like to use flat brushes. So, I do have some pointer brushes for small areas, and you really just grab and use what works best for you, what you're most comfortable with. So I'm putting my brush starting about halfway on my canvas. And again, I said, I'm going to go diagonal. I'm not going to go straight across. It's going to be a little bit diagonal. Okay. And that top part, might be a little bit too diagonal. Okay. But so my up here is going to be my my sky. So I'm going to take and kind of use my white first, put my white down. And then I'll come back on top with the blue because I want it to be, you see how light that is. And I didn't mix it on the canvas. I really mix it on my tray. I really like mixing my paint for the sky and stuff like that. I like mixing it on the canvas because it gives it variations. It almost like, the sky. Sometimes you get a nice clear blue sky, but this way I get my some variations. It might be kind of a cloudy or smoky in one area like that. And again, I want mine to be light. So you can see it's kind of dark in the middle. I just come right back on top with the white until I get to the shade of blue that I like and want. Now I'm using my largest flat brush, which usually when you grab something in the store, it's 1 inch or 3/4 inch. Is what they usually have on the shelves to purchase. And the one that I have is a little bit bigger, and I did order it from a company that makes wood. I'm not sure. I guess he's kind of branching out and decided to make paintbrushes. And I'm not going in any particular method, the way I'm painting up and down, all around, just whatever, until I get my brush, my background covered. I'm dipping my brush in the water because it looks like my paint is not moving as much as I would like it to. So it means that it needs a little bit of water. I want to get some movement going on in there. So I dip my brush. And don't worry about that blue line. It's going to be covered with the brown.
It's so tight.
Thank you. All right, you guys. We're gonna let that that background dry so you can put your brushes down and stop the swiping madness. I think landscapes are great. You know, the painting, the swiping is relaxing, and landscapes are perfect for doing that because it's a lot of space that you're just kind of swiping. So I'm gonna you can see where this is kind of like I guess the road here, that black and white mixed together is kind of the road. So I made it a little bit lighter because I wanted to put this tree is supposed to be a little bit of a shadow on the road. Now, if it's like totally black, it'll be a little bit harder to add like the shadows of the tree there. So keep that in mind when you decide how dark you want your road to be. So I'm going to go ahead and I did rinse my brush out, the blue out of my brush. And I'm grabbing my flat brush again. And now I'm going to make a line. Dip mine in white. Then I'm going to dip it in the black because I don't want a solid black line that I'm going to have to try to clean up a little bit. So I'm going to start at that same corner where I started with my blue line and bring it down at a little bit of an angle. Okay. You guys see that? It's just an angle there. And you can see because I had black and white in my brush, it didn't turn it completely black. It's kind of a grayish color. But if you want to go a little bit lighter, just add your white to it. Mine looks kind of dark. But because I have that, the black still in my brush, it just mixes very well. And again, I like the variations as well of mixing my paint on the canvas. And so it was just a small part. So
So other than black, white, and blue, what other colors? Brown and a yellow?
brown and orange.
Orange, okay. I just want to know what to shake.
Yeah. Now I want to add some white and orange. And so I did, mine came down a little bit too far here. So I'm going to adjust that later. I'm going to put my orange, because like I said, I want this to be a lighter orange because I want to put a shadow on there. So I dipped my brush in the white. I dipped it in orange first and then the white. And then I'm going to bring that line down there so that I'm going to leave some space up there for that brown. Just a small portion because I got carried away with my blue. So now I'm going to go ahead and add that white, mix my orange and my white on the canvas next to the black. And I do have mine at an angle, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to see some people who didn't really do an angle, and no angle is fine. After I painted it, I was like, why did I angle that so much? So if it's not really angled, that's fine too. Again, I want to make that kind of a pale color because we're going to come back on top with orange, but hoping that orange to be able to make a darker shadow. And then strategically, we're working on the bottom while the top is drying. We're letting our blue dry. And once we add this brown part, brown and white section, we're going to start painting our brush that I want to keep saying a skyline, but I don't think that's what it's called, but I've been brain dead lately. I don't know. I need to get me some ginkgo, something to get that stimulation going. So. Actually, it says, I think Kathy is the only name that I don't recognize that may be the first time painting with me. I know.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
And I've seen Misty has painted with us before, and I see she's from British Columbia. Awesome. All right. So now we're going
way northern.
It's really northern and it's like summertime here. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, we should have snow by now, but I'm not complaining.
Right, especially when you hear how Eva is, it's like 50 something degrees there. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'll take
Exactly.
this temperature.
Well, send some of that Chinook down to us again, okay?
So we're going to next jump into the brown. We just have a little smidgen. My example, I have more, but again, I got a little bit carried away with my blue. So I'm gonna fill that in. Right now you only see where I put white on there, and now I'm gonna dip it in the brown so that I can mix it. And again, I want it light as well. Now we don't put much shadow in that area, but I still want it to be a little bit lighter because when I do the skyline, in the back, I want to be able to see that the dark lines, the dark trees and that. And that's only a small section. You might, lose yourself and get caught up in making it bigger or just keep swiping, you know how it is. So now I want to start with my skyline, and I'm gonna do, you guys have seen it where I'm just dabbing the paint on, and that's pretty much what is going to be going on with these areas. I'm going to start with a lighter orange. Well, I'm going to mix a little bit of white with it, you can see. Well, let's start with straight orange first. And again, I'm just going to start with just orange, no white. And then I'll, come in later with because I just want to, and again, you guys, I'm just going to dab it on there. I'm going to leave, I'm not going to, dab it together. I'm going to leave some spaces because I'm going to come back in with the lighter orange and give it some kind of dimension. So, and I'm going to pretty much go all the way across. And I'm not going to go all the way across. I see that I stopped here for my trees. So I'm going to go about right there and leave that space for my trees. But actually, it's just how much brush do you want to have in the background? How high do you want to bring it? It is on the horizon. That's the word I've been trying to say. It's back on the horizon. So I think I'm going to stop here as far as how far over and leave that area for tree area. And then if you did go over, it's fine. We're going to paint that, use the brown, the dark brown or black, whichever you prefer, to go over top of that area. So, and I'm going to continue with this orange, and I'm going to start adding the tree. I'm going to start dabbing some areas that are going to be the tree. I'm going to start at the top because, you know, we have a tendency to go small and not use all of our canvas. And I already have a lot of what we call negative space, which that means there's nothing over here. So I want to use more of my canvas. So I'm going to start at the top. So to give yourself a baseline on how big you want to go with your tree. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start up here, and I'm going to try to make it kind of a dome look. And I'm just dabbing that paint, and come down. I'm going to again leave some space because I want to come back in with a lighter orange, and I want to, I'm going to put some on top. I'm going to put some underneath, you know, just kind of dab everywhere just to give it, like I said, some dimension. So I'm going to have that as my top. And then I am going to leave a section that is going to be okay. It over here. Just kind of dabbing that paint. Doesn't look like much right now, but after we start kind of filling in with more colors, it will stand out. And I'm going to bring it almost down to my horizon. I'm dabbing the paint, and I am kind of, when I do dab, I'll kind of drag it a little bit, just like in a circular motion, just to make sure that, because my brush is flat and I don't want it to have a square look. Okay, can you see where I did that? I think I have enough on there. So I left some spaces. I'm not going to fill all the spaces because I do want to put some branches in there. And so after I get the orange on there, now I didn't rinse my brush out. I am going to dip it in the white. So now, because I do have that orange in my brush and white, now it's going to give me that light orange I'm going for. And I'm going to go ahead and start over here where I started before and kind of put some, kind of go around. And some of it is not going to, like, don't make it like you're circling it, encasing it. Some of it will, I'm just kind of filling up spaces, and some of it can go on top of the orange as well. Okay. And I don't want it to look too uniform, guys. So now I'm going to dip it. I have that white in there. I'm going to dip it in my orange again because I want some variations. And now because there's white there, it is going to be another shade of orange. So guys, I don't want you guys, when I say circle it, I don't want to see where you guys have like just a halo effect around each section. I want to mix it up a little bit. Some areas that are darker and some areas that are lighter. That's what I'm going for. And some of it with my white, I'm going to go on top of the orange that I already have down there, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay. And so I have that white. And I'm going to dip it some more, dip it again in my orange. So again, I have the white and the orange on my brush. So now it gives me a third shade. So it looks like I have 3 shades of orange when I only have just one orange and, and the white. So here, I'm going to go over here, make some background brush or kind of that's like, again, this section over here is going to be, these are a little bit lighter back over here. And that section, I'm going to kind of raise it up a little bit, but more, as you know, it's going to be more of your branches. The tree trunk is going to go over there. So a lot of that's probably going to be covered. Okay, but I want to give it a nice background. Okay, so we kind of took care of that brush below. And I'm going to do the same thing with my tree area with the same technique of the orange is already in my brush. I'm going to dip it in a little bit of white and a little bit of orange and just kind of dab. I'm gonna go do some of those areas in my my tree. I'm not gonna fill in all the areas now. Remember, I left some areas, and now I'm not gonna fill in all of them. I'm gonna do some on top and some in the areas that I left open, just to make sure I give it some layers. So guys, can you like feel the fall already with this painting? It almost looks like clouds up there, right? So it's okay for some of the blue to shine through because sometimes you can see through the leaves.
Being late to the table, like my orange is really, really bright. I should have used my golden brown, probably would have been better. So I've been monkeying around with orange and brown.
Okay, and I was going to say we are going to add some brown so you can tone it down if you feel like it's too bright. You can tone it down with some brown. So I'm ready to start adding my branches. I'm going to do that tree trunk first. And I'm dipping it. And I used brown, then I came back with black because I didn't feel like it was enough contrast. So you can use the brown or you can use the black. I am going to start with the brown, and I'll probably add some black if I don't feel like it's dark enough. I'm kind of giving it a little bit of a base there. It's more like a shadow there, a little oval. And now I'm going to start bringing it up to, and I am using a flat brush. It's a little bit thinner than what I had, but I like to, you can use a pointer brush, whatever works best for you. I just like to take my flat brush, instead of painting with it turned horizontal, I turn it vertical to make my lines like that. So that's what I'm doing now. And I'm going to make those a little bit wider. Right now they're kind of thin. I might go ahead and do horizontal for these down here, just to make it thicker, give it more of a base. My trunk's a little bit thicker. Okay. And I'm going to turn it back vertical and put some that you could still see kind of coming up in the branches maybe. Now I got carried away on my example, so you don't have to do that many. Just a few. You know, you want it to look realistic, but you don't have to overdo it like I did. Okay, some you may be able to see, some you may not. Okay. I just added a few, and now I'm going to go where my brown and my orange meet the horizon, or there where that darker, the orange that are like my brush. Like when I say brush, I mean like foliage. I'm gonna paint a brown line there, all the way, even in the back of my tree on the other side. So I'm gonna, okay, I see. And now I'm gonna bring up, some of that brown, I'm gonna bring it up to almost look like it's a bit of a, let me put that here. You can still see where I'm bringing up the brown. Bringing it up almost like it may be a tree, but it's so far away you can't really tell. And you can see it's not, I didn't go real heavy. Well, actually, yeah, it's not real heavy. Because it's not, again, this is kind of far away. Well, I'm trying to give it the illusion that it's far away. How about that? and the line that I painted in the back, it's not a straight flat line. I'm going to smudge it a little bit so that it's not just a dark line. Just smudge it a little bit, where it's like a super straight dark line. So now it's kind of it's not straight, it's kind of fudgy. So there you go. There. All right. I like that. Now also, while I'm in this brown, I'm putting a few where it looks like there's a little more, almost like that one behind there that's like it's more trees, and I'm going to give them a little bit of some stems, some tree trunks back there, but just real faint because again it is the skyline. Can you guys hear that in the background?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hayden, can you keep it down some, please? Thank you. My boys have really deep voices. I guess they got it from their dad. So it can sound like a little louder. So now I want to put this kind of a fence just a little bit. And the way I'm going to start that is like, this is almost kind of like a fence on the road, or this area here is going to be fenced. So I'm going to put these, like, space it out enough where I'm just bringing those up, the poles to the, that's what I'm trying to say. My poles, I'm adding my poles. And that I always talk about not being uniform. If it's not uniform, it's fine. But if you want it to be uniform, because some people have trouble letting go and being they have trouble letting go and not being in control. And so this is a time where I'm going to say it's okay. So, and I'm not taking it all the way over, guys. I stop right there. And you see in my example, I did not go all the way over. So now that's the poles. And now we're going to put the horizontal beams across. I'm only going to do 2. So make sure you made it wide enough where you have 2. And I'm just going straight across, really. And I'm not going straight across. I'm painting it, so some of it's not going to be even. So I want you to think that like you take a ruler and you paint straight across. No, it's just a little bit of a swipe, so it doesn't look like it's totally uniform. And then this, I'm gonna have it where it goes kind of down, because maybe it's broken at the end there. You guys see that? It's just a fun fall scene, guys. It's a fun fall scene.
Most wooden fences are all sorts of old pieces of wood, so they're never
Right. Right. So that's what they don't actually, well, in Kentucky on the horse farms, they do buy them and paint them white. But these are, we want them to look like they were maybe some trees that fell down and they repurposed them to build their fence. Okay.
old-fashioned rustic.
Yes. And now we have that brown in our brush. And I'm going to dip my brush in the white. I still have that brown. I got a little brown and white in my brush. And then I did add a little bit of that to my tree just to give it some more dimension. If you like your tree where it is, don't put any more to it. I'm going to put a few where I just dab the paint on there so it looks like there's some brown. And just some places, just a few. I'm not going to put a lot. Again, just kind of giving it some the brown and white, and put a few up here. And not uniform, guys. I look like I don't like what I did right there. So I'm going to get orange and come on top of it. So there. I just want to put a little bit more just to change, give it a little more dimension. It doesn't look like I put much in when I'm looking at it in the screen. It doesn't look like I put much on there, but in person, it looks like I did. Maybe I'll do a little more so you guys can see it. There. Now you can see more of it. Yes, definitely you can see more. There. And if you don't like the brown, if it's too much, you put too much, just come back on top, dip it in the orange. You don't even have to rinse it out, dip it in the orange and kind of dab on top of that. And so that is kind of it for my brown. Now I kind of want to give, add a little bit of shadow, like I said, down here on the bottom as if it was that shadow of the tree is kind of casting a shadow on the road here. And this is where it might be hard for you guys, that you just kind of let loose. I'm just gonna go back and forth, back and forth. Just let loose, let loose. I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth. And I am going over into the and that's not uniform either. And I'm going over into the over on the black side. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And so you can see that shadow there. And I did add a little bit of brown. I'm dipping my brush in a little bit of brown to make it a little bit darker. You guys see that? Just making it a little bit darker. And you see, I'm just back and forth. I'm not, does not have to be uniform. You don't have to like freak out and be in control that it's too loose, because it is supposed to be loose. This is an abstract painting for sure. Now, I did, you can see on my example, I used black to add the shadow over on that side. So you are welcome to go in and use not a heavy black. We're going to make it light. I'm going to dip my brush in it, in the black, and I'm going to wipe the black off on my palette. I'm going to wipe the brush, the paint out of my brush. Now there's still black in there, but I'm just wiping my palette to try to get any excess black off my brush. And so now I'm going on the black side and kind of do the same. Yep, I don't like it. I'm going to get some more black out of my brush. And just do the same thing that I did over here. But be careful, because it looks like I have too much black in my brush. But there we go. Can you see that? It wasn't too bad. I still had a lot of black in there, but it did what I wanted to do. Okay. And that is about it. Now, I did, if you want your, put a little bit of black in the shadow down here, on the base of my tree. Okay, that's about it. I didn't add any more black in my brush. And it's black in my brush, and I kind of swirl it here at the base of my tree, where my tree sits on the ground. And I did take and bring that swipe up into the tree, on the tree branch. I'm sorry, the tree trunk. You know how we do in the past. I might take, it's still black in my brush, and I'll take and paint one side down on each of the what is this called? I'm just brain dead today. So
The trunk, you want to put a light on the one side?
I'm not going to put light. I'm just going to put dark on one side of the tree trunk, because I already have black paint in my brush. I'm not going to add any more, and just run it down there. So it's just a slight variation. So it gives that a little bit of dimension, a little bit of depth for it. And that's it. That's it, guys. Now my brown, I have a really pale brown. If you wanted to, run black over top of your fence, you can do that as well, but it looks dark enough for me. So this was fun. This is also, you could do this for if it was the springtime and you want it green. You can just do, instead of using the orange, you can use the green in the trees. I'm not sure. This would probably be better, like a lighter brown or something like that, as far as the that ground there. But this area up here, this can all be green. But of course, just try to use that green and try to mix it up and do variations in your green. So that, and so that one, we're gonna, still kind of take our group photo, but I want to go ahead and click off of YouTube and let the YouTubers know, thanks for painting with me. And I would appreciate if you take a picture and send me a copy of your painting. That would be awesome, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a picture together and post it. All right. Good night. And thanks for painting with me.